Rebel Road. I'm in Fairfield, Iowa at the Seven Roses Inn, and Bob and Connie has let me use this space as a backdrop for a couple of amazing interviews that I'm really excited to share with you on the Rebel Road. The Rebel Road is about having no excuses, to live our heart's dreams, to really dive into our passion and live our soul calling. And today I've got Lyric Benson with me, and it's really exciting because she has released a CD. Her amazing music touched me the moment that I heard it. And it is a style and a genre that I think really needs to be out there, that we can really move to and groove to and really get excited about and raise our vibration in a way that is passionate and playful and fun. So I'm really excited to talk to her about that, in addition to the other work that she's involved in with the Wholeness. So welcome, Lyric. It's so nice to speak with you.
Thank you very much.
I want to talk about your music first of all. I was not familiar with you. I'm not exactly sure how we even came in contact with each other. But the moment that I heard the clips from your website, I was so excited. It was just so different than a lot of the music that's out there in the spiritual and inspirational realm. Tell me how you got into all of this.
That's great. Well, I didn't grow up spiritually. My father's Robbie Benson, my mom is Carla DeVito. They're both in the entertainment industry. So I grew up in LA. I was on film sets ever since I was a little kid. But at about 20, I read a book, Autobiography of a Yogi, and I immediately wanted to learn about spirituality. I wanted to learn about meditation, and I was lucky enough to actually learn Transcendental Meditation in the TM City program. So that was my kind of spiritual route for many years. I lived as a monk basically for 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty remarkable. I was a part of a coherence creating group for world peace for 3 years. And then I had the remarkable fortune of meeting an amazing healer, Matthew Reifschlager, and that began kind of the next phase of my spiritual journey. And during that whole time, I began writing poetry. I would do long meditations, sometimes even up to, 8-10 hours a day when I was with the group. And in these meditations, the world of consciousness just explodes in front of you. Silence is not silent. And, all forms of...
I gotta stop there. Silence is not silent. I love that.
It's
Talk more about that.
Well, it's very dynamic, and actually that's my music, to me, sounds like what I would experience in silence. So beautiful. That is, it's rock and roll, it's wild, it's crazy, and all of my lyrics came from my experiences kind of just exploring the realms of my own consciousness of silence during my meditations, during the healings with the Wholeness that I did. These lyrics would just come. And then I ended up collaborating with my dad, who's an awesome musician, and I think he actually wrote a song for Diana Ross that went gold, and he's had some good some good practice. And so basically I just told him, I really want these lyrics to be in a format that's powerful, it's passionate. And most spiritual music doesn't necessarily have those qualities. They're amazing, peaceful.
Because we think we're supposed to just be calm, and it's supposed to be serene. But our nature, I keep telling people in my own Rebel Road show, you can't put spirit in a bottle. We're not meant to be trapped. We're meant to be wild and free and passionate and living in this boundless, timeless creation as creativity. And that's what your music says to me.
Thank you. Yes. Then success. Because that's really what we were going for. And, it was a very interesting thing for me because it came right after a period of such inward silence. I would go even months without hardly talking to people, without I would go to the grocery store was my main interaction, and then I would just do my meditation and then the healing work. So even though I was my silence was so dynamic, my activity was very silent. And then now kind of coming in and starting to do this, starting to give out the music and my other work, it's just like bleeding that that dynamism that you're speaking of into activity, so that you can feel that wholeness of creation even while you're just cooking, you're walking around, you're giving a lecture, no matter what, you know. So it's such a beautiful stage of integration.
So I can hear the questions coming from the audience already.
Okay.
And probably one of the things that they're asking is, if you grew up in the entertainment industry and in that kind of environment, that appears to be a very materialistic kind of environment,
Yes.
a very ego-based environment. So how does a child growing up in that environment all of a sudden so fully immerse themselves in something that is, I won't say egoless, because I don't think spirituality is meant to be egoless, but it is conscious ego.
Right.
And it is conscious living, and it is willing to be in the silence when you're so used to so much that is not silent. Talk about that.
Well, I think for me it was what drove me home, so to speak. You know, I grew up in this and I saw it. A lot of times when people don't grow up in the entertainment industry, there's a lot of expectations that aren't really true. They think it's a lot of glitz and glamour, and I saw behind the scenes. And my parents are amazing and remarkably conscious, and even though I had no technical spiritual upbringing, they're so in their own self, just naturally. Mm. So I watched how moral my father was throughout these really intense situations of, like, less than ideal, you would say. And so I basically, that's what really made me turn back to the self. Is at a certain point, I'm also a screenwriter, and at a certain point at NYU, my teacher said, "Lyric, just go and try to sell your stuff." So I actually left NYU during the middle of my sophomore year, and I started trying to sell, but they told me things that didn't resonate. It didn't feel good. It felt like I was selling out, and I was only 19, so I was like, no. And then that's when God, the creator, however you want to call it, being the self, kind of started organizing for me to follow this spiritual path. And
you just said something that I think is so key, that is another message about the Rebel Road. We really do live in a self-organizing structure.
Yes.
We live in this place, and you said the Creator started organizing for you.
Yes.
And I think that that's the part that so many people fight with, is they can't let go of the control. They can't let go of, I want to organize this and create it. So you let this happen. You fell into the flow of it.
Yes, basically. And I think more and more as I realized that silence within me is the creator, you know, and you merge more and more with that wholeness, that the letting go is a simultaneous empowerment. Mm. You know, you let go, and then it's like, whoa, the self then can rush forth and begin to organize for you. And it's not that you don't do anything. Of course you do a lot, but I did a lot of non-doing for many years. but it's more just that allowing that integration to take place of that higher self, that higher knowledge, to flood the individual awareness, so that you can begin to act as that filament for divine grace, you know, in life. And whatever that means to each individual, every path is so different. So
yeah. How did you stay strong? You said that they wanted it changed or done a certain way, and you said, no, this has to be my way, or the way that I'm feeling, I'm being guided to do it. How did you stay strong to not fall victim to sometimes the paradigms that we have going on around us right now?
Oh my goodness, that's such a beautiful question. It was sheer will. It was just will. You know, for me, it didn't feel good when I started writing and they wanted me to kind of sell out. You know, that it didn't feel good inside. So that was a strong enough message, like, okay, this isn't the time for that. And I was lucky enough that my parents were moving away from California at that time, so I could go with them. So there was kind of this just peeling away from that, even though it was subtle at that point. But then more and more, like at every moment, it's that choice that I constantly am making. You know, God, divine grace, whatever you want to call it, being the creator, that's all I want. You know, you taste it in meditation. That's really when I first learned it, was during my TM practice, and I tasted that silence, and it just was like, this tastes really good. And you're just like in love with it, and it becomes this romantic love story between you and yourself. And it's just so delicious, you don't want to eat anything else. And then it almost becomes challenging to then step back out. But that's what being incarnated as a human is all about. It's about service, you know, and serving others so that they can also taste that. I know that's what you're doing.
And embodying that we feel in that silence and that divinity that we know is us, and then really bringing that into the world. Yes,
that's so important. And actually for many years I had, you know, very powerful experiences in meditation and deep, you can even say deep cognition, but it didn't feel integrated to me. So I was like, I'm not ready to speak about this, to teach, to, you know, move forward until I am fully, not, well, I wouldn't say I'm 100% rooted, but, you know, basically fully rooted in your own experience. And even if, you know, whatever that experience is. So that was really important for me.
So what does integration look like? Because a lot of people are probably asking that question with, okay, well, what does that mean? What is that word that is thrown around like that? What did that look like for you?
Well, basically, you know, it's at the beginning you have that pure blissful silence, and then you come into activity and you're like, oh crap, you know, kind of, it's not like that. Like activity is chaotic and not peaceful, and you're just not fully in the self, you know. So there's that constant yearning, whoa, okay, I want to go back and be on my silence. And that's what caused me to do very long meditations. But then more and more, you know, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi talks about this, about the importance of you are in the silence and then you go into activity, because that activity is what weaves the silence into the activity. And my work with the wholeness has been so integrating. And a lot of it had to do with the importance of grounding to Mother Earth, eating foods very high in Mother Earth's vibration. And that really is what's helped to, you could say, integrate me in allowing the wholeness of your divine being to actually flood the body. That's really what integration is. If you're gonna pare it down, it's that the light actually radiating in your cells and not just being somewhere out there in La La Land that you have to then go to. So it just is, you know, all great spiritual teachers, you know, the Dalai Lama, the Buddha, Jesus, you know, you just go, Muhammad, all of them, they were fully present and they were super dynamic. You know, there was no hesitation when it was time to move and go. And so that's, in my mind, those saints and prophets and rishis, that's what integration is.
Beautiful, beautiful. So some may be wondering, is lyric your real name?
Yes.
Because you were writing lyrics, and our name is our nature. How perfect is that? Did you always know that you wanted to sing, or was this part of something that just unfolded for you?
No, it's quite funny. I never even thought I was a good singer when I was growing up. My mom is an amazing voice. She sang with Meatloaf. She has been on Broadway. That's where my parents met. You know, it just, she's incredible. And so I always was like, I can't sing like my mom. And then I don't know what happened. I think I learned a breathing technique that I now am a teacher of, and it completely changed how my diaphragm moved. And suddenly it was like, whoa, I can sing. and so it just, it just started to unfold like that. So.
I love that. I love how our name truly is our nature.
Yeah, it always name comes and form.
Yes, definitely. So let's talk a little bit about the wholeness.
Okay,
let's talk a little bit about what this organization stands for, what your role is in it, and what their vision and mission is for humanity.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, the Wholeness is an all-denominational, non-profit organization dedicated to helping people awaken to enlightenment, basically. And we have tools and techniques that we teach. We teach something called the Breath of God, and a life force breathing class to help integrate the body again. It's that whole concept of bringing the self into the self. So we do a lot of that. Also, it was founded by Matthew Reifschlager, who's a remarkable healer and spiritual visionary. He has divine communion. He's very rooted in the wholeness of that experience. And so our mission is basically, I think, fourfold. The first one is to bring out this knowledge and to teach. So we have the Wholeness School, and an amazing healer named Carol Maceo Hardin is the head of that school. So we have classes.
And where is that located?
In Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Okay.
Yes, yes. But that being said, we do travel around the country teaching these courses. So if somebody does feel that they are interested, they just contact us and we will try to organize a course in their area.
Beautiful.
And then there's also the Wholeness community, which eventually we would love to just build a community where people of all religious backgrounds, all spiritual traditions, can peacefully live in a community that is radiating in coherence and wholeness, you know, because everyone has their way of experiencing the self, God, the creator, and to all be together in an environment that's somewhat elevated by other technologies that I'll talk of is such a gift. And the third aspect is the Mahavakya Seed Project and the Crystal Temple Project. So that's what this is. And this is a Mahavakya Crystal Seed. Yes, please. And the purpose of these seeds is basically to bring the heavenly vibrations of Mother Earth into your living environment. So what they are is they're planted in various places around the globe. We've planted them in Israel on Mount Carmel, Mount Haleakala. 3 are going to Nepal at the end of the month, in the Himalayas, soon in the Andes, the tip of the Andes. So all of these are PowerPoints on Mother Earth. And we know that this is a very unique time on Mother Earth right now, and her light bodies are radiating in a way that they haven't ever been before. So it's really important to take advantage of that. You know, our bodies, we could say, are even cells in this great being that is Mother Earth. And we can either plug into her energy, which our bodies are meant to run off of, or we can plug into the energy of collective consciousness, which can be less nourishing. It causes our organs to almost hum in a way that isn't so beneficial. So basically what these do is they draw up that powerful earth energy. And when you have one in your home, then it makes it more easily assimilated by your human body, basically. So your body begins to run off larger and larger amounts of earth energy.
I see that it's sacred geometry.
Yes.
There definitely looks like certain measurements have been put into play to really conform to that sacred geometry. And then there's 3 crystals that are in there as well as the shape of the pyramid or triangle.
Yes, yes. Basically, what it was explained to us that we needed to make a 3D 9-pointed yantra. So there's never been a shape, at least that we know of, quite like this. It's 27-pointed globe, basically. And then in the center, the 3 crystals, what they do is they create a vortex. So inside the earth energy enters, and then it's spun by the 3 crystals. Crystals are amazing amplifiers of energy.
Yes.
And so that's how it works. And, you know, it's basically copper, crystal, and consciousness is what we say, because it's really ruled by Mother Earth and the divine realms. You know, we could say the archangels, but whatever you want to say, the higher intelligence, the beings of higher intelligence that are 100% benefic and just want to help.
So if individuals wanted to get one of these for their home or their land, they would keep it in their home or they would plant it in the ground?
They can do either. If you want it in your home, it helps to radiate coherence for your home. If you want it in the land, it helps to create this very powerful grid that we are forming of all the PowerPoints on Mother Earth, and we're hoping to energetically link basically all the holy lands on the earth, forming a subtle unity between religions, between spiritual traditions, and that will hopefully become more manifest. The unity will become more manifest. And that's actually the fourth project is that we work on, is called the Religions of God Project, which is basically just spreading that knowledge that all religions stem from the same basic source within us, and that there's really no conflict, and that it's amazing to have your own path and follow your path and love your path, but more than just tolerate others, respect and honor their path as well.
Yes.
Because really, the world is never going to experience unity until all of these paths home to divinity, to God, to the self, at least recognize that and respect each other, you know. So there is that friendship between them,
yes,
rather than the...
That respect and honoring is so crucial for all of us. Now, there's also a book entitled The Wholeness, and if you'll see a picture of that as well as the lyric CD towards the end of this segment, and a close-up shot of this seed.
Yes, that'd be amazing.
Yes, that would be beautiful. Talk a little bit about the book, The Wholeness. What is that? Is it a transmission? Is it something that was channeled? Where did that information come from?
Well, we don't like to use the word channeling only because that this is really, it's from Matthew Reifschlager, who is the healer that I've worked with for many years, healer and spiritual visionary. And he's not much older than me, but he was born with this remarkable gift of divine communion. And so he communes with God, and for many years he would hold space for healings for individuals, and he would do it via teleconference or in person, however. So the Wholeness Volume 1 is actually transcriptions of healings that he did for those many years, but their basic foundational knowledge of awakening and enlightenment and your relationship with God. I mean, it's so beautiful, and that God is within your heart and that there's no separation. I mean, it's foundational and fundamental knowledge for unity consciousness. It's just so beautiful, and the book itself is almost a healing. So yeah, I love it, and I transcribed actually all of the books.
Wonderful! How wonderful! Multi-talented.
Yeah, it was really sweet for me.
So they can find out and support the work of the Wholeness, along with if they're wanting to get their own seed and the book at thewholeness.org.
Yes, thewholeness.org, and we're both the Wholeness and the Mahavakya Foundation, who builds the seeds, are nonprofits. And right now we're hoping to really start a worldwide initiative to plant these seeds, but also to build 9 world temples, which will be using archangelic technology of giant crystals the size of basically this room to radiate earth energy and coherence for humanity. So if anyone wants to donate or get involved in any way, just contact us.
What a magnificent vision. And what's the vision for Lyric Benson? What is her vision?
Oh gosh, you know, it's that extreme level of integration where I can be so rooted in this knowledge and my own self, and yet be performing in front of large groups of people and enjoying that aspect of life as well. So
wonderful.
Yeah, in the future, I just want to help bring people to the divine within, basically.
And do you have a concert tour set up, or do you want people to invite you? How do we want this to happen?
Oh gosh! Well, if they want to invite me, they're more than welcome to. I don't yet have a tour set up, but I would definitely love that. I've performed recently here in Fairfield at the Sondheim Center for Performing Arts, and it was awesome, and I love performing live, so.
Well, get your CD, and if you have a center, or if you have a facility or an organization, I'm certain after you hear Lyric's CD, you're going to want to invite her to perform. And your website is?
lyricslovelightrevolution.com, or you can just do lyricbenson.com. That's much easier. It's also available on iTunes and CD Baby.
Wonderful, and you'll see all of those links below, as well as in the upcoming article in 1111 magazine. As we move along this rebel road, I find a lot of people, they're saying, but I don't know what it is I'm here to do. I just want to serve. It is organizations just like this. It is inviting amazing artists that are being rebels in their own right to help share their messages and spread their vision and their light. And that's another way to connect yourself with people until you get to that place where you're willing to be the wild rebel out there spreading your unique genius on the planet. Yeah.
Do it.
In love, of love, with love, and as love. I'm Simran Singh with the magnificent Lyric Benson. Until the next city, be well.